Flower Guzi and Youngyu was born Bagwong Shongsi. He was the light of fiscal sense of justice, like the release. He saw hunter-caught animals, always spared no expense to buy let go. Once, to catch up with Uncle funeral, and Youngyu went to the funeral. Go home at night, on his way through Wushan, lost his way in the valley, the hearts are horrified. Suddenly, he saw a light outside a stone's throw. They would rush there, left a few steps. Suddenly I saw an old man, hunched, dragging crutches, on their way quickly inclined path. And Youngyu stopped and was about to ask, but the old man to ask who he was. An old man Youngyu told himself lost his way, and that there must be a place of light village, ready to go their own lodging. The old man said this place is not a comfort zone fortunately. The old lady came, and you can follow me, my family cottage lets you stay. And Youngyu very happy. An old man with the young public opinion about a mile away. I saw a small village. Old man knocked Chapman. There will be an old lady opened the door, said, musical come yet? The old man said coming. Entering the house, I saw a small low-rise houses. Old man light a candle, close to and David Yu sat down, ordered on the existing home to prepare food to eat. The old lady also said he is not someone else, you are my benefactor. Difficulties in walking, can beggar Guzi too poor. While, there is a girl to end the food into the room and stood beside the old man, slanting eyes peep and Youngyu. And Youngyu and saw she was young and beautiful, like an angel. Old man ordered back to spend Guzi warm wine. Room in the west corner of the living room with the stove, stirring the fire into the house they spent Guzi. And Youngyu asked, the girl is what your people? The old man said the old lady surnamed Zhong, 70 years, and this is the only daughter of the farm is not the maidservant, because you are not an outsider, so dare to call his wife and daughter out of face see. Do not joke. And Youngyu asked, where son home? The old man replied no son, and you praised the young spent Guzi smart, beautiful, full of praise. The old man is humble polite, suddenly heard spent Guzi exclaimed. Old man ran into the house, the original wine boiling hot, flames jumping. The old man put out the fire, scold said such a big girl friends, do not know the boiling hot. Look back, next to the stove there is a heart-pierced Zigus organ has not been completed, and scold said the hair is so more, but also like a child, the pierced look Zigus showed and Youngyu said, simply play that stuff. Hot boiling the wine you praise her, the people would not die of shame. An immature public opinion a close look at her pierced Zigu, facial features close and taste, producing exquisite, it gave witness said, although almost child's play, you can also see her intelligent mind. They drink for a long time, spend Guzi frequently come pour wine, sweet smile, not at all shy, and Youngyu watching the flowers Guzi, love arises spontaneously. I suddenly heard a woman say hello, old man then got up and walked away, and Young made no public opinion to see other people. To spend Guzi said see you Miru's yanks and looks, so I lost my soul wanted to call it pro matchmaker, not afraid to say, what to do. Flower Guzi took the jug, the face of fire, always silent, as if nothing had heard them asked several times, did not answer. And Youngyu suffer little by little into the house. Spend Guzi stood up, stern countenance, said Mad Lang came into the room to do, and Youngyu upright on his knees, begging. Flower Guzi want to go out running for the door. The young and you suddenly got up, blocked by kiss her on the lips. Flower Guzi with trembling voice shouted. The old man rushed into the room and asked what to call, and you let go of the young Flower Guzi, out of the room, deeply ashamed, but also very fear. At this time, spend a leisurely Guzi said to his father wine and pouring boiling, but for musical come and help, the jug are burned. And Youngyu listened to spend Guzi said, the heart was stable down. Flower Guzi also more grateful, he was smitten, and gave up the idea of indecent assault, then left the meeting pretend drunk, also then spent Guzi away, old man to pave bedding, closing to leave, and Youngyu all night, before dawn to put the old man shout out to say goodbye. After returning home, the young Yu immediately begged to be a good friend. They marry. A friend went back to the day before. Not even Spend Guzi home did not find accommodation. So Yu ordered a horse, with a servant, looking for the old way, in person. Go to the place of the original. Surprised to find everywhere is a steep cliff, steep rock. There is no village. To a nearby village to find out, especially lesser named chapter. Yu disappointment. Rice could not eat, sleep cannot sleep, delirious from falling problems, barely a drink, gruel on the nausea to vomiting, shouting in a coma, always Spend Guzi. Family understand its meaning, can only serve all night around the side, evidently already on the brink of death. One night, caregiver Sleepy Bear, already asleep, the young Yu stumbled, felt someone shaking himself, slightly opened his eyes, saw that it is to Spend Guzi standing in the bed, unconsciously conscious over. He carefully looked at to Spend Guzi, tears trickle to drip straight down. Flower Guzi Bo smiled, said, "As for how this little fool will be on the bed," sat the young Yu's lap, holding down the young Yu temples with both hands. Yu feel a brain. There was a musky scent through the nose, chin through bone marrow. Press for a long time, the young Yu suddenly felt sweating, gradually developed into sweaty. Flower Guzi whispered the house many people, "I cannot stay 3 days later, I will see you again." And from the embroidered sleeves and pulled out fired several hanging on the bed, then quietly leave. At midnight, the young Yu is no longer sweat, want to eat something. They takes hangbing eat. I do not know what stuffing's hangbing package. He ate very sweet. They ate a 3. He also used the rest of the clothes hangbing cover, then groggy sleep soundly, wake up until when Chen, body relief. 3 days later, Zhangbing finished, the young Yu mental preparation refreshing sleep, so he let his family all go away, afraid to spend cannot find the time to come in the door. Guzi, they secretly out of the den, fully open the door. Soon, really soon Spend Guzi, he smiled and said silly musical, not to thank the doctor, and young Yu extremely happy, holding Flowers Guzi lingering about it, very loving. Then, Spend Guzi said, "I risked, humiliated reason to come is to repay your kindness. In fact, we cannot do permanent couple, so you'd better make other plans early, child." And young Yu silence for a long time, before asking, "We have never met, we're forged friendship with your family." "I really cannot remember." Flower Guzi does not answer, but said, "You think about yourself." And young Yu insisted with Flowers Guzi do permanent couples. Spend Guzi said again and again. The night came to private will, of course not, and cannot do permanent couples. And young Yu heard this, depression is not happy, sad. Flower Guzi said, "If you want to harmony, go to my house tomorrow night." And young Yu, this sad turn for the music, asked a long way, "You slender feet, how to be able to come here?" Flower Guzi said, "I had not been home for death. Old Lady Tung Tao is my aunt. For your exigencies, I have lived to this day in the aunt's house. I am afraid that the family feels strange." And young Yu and Flowers Guzi with being in sleep, only to find her breath, her skin, everywhere incense, and asked, "What you smoked incense? Incense can flesh bone marrow are thoroughly." Flower Guzi said, "I was born this way, not smoked out." And young Yu even more surprised. Get up early and Spend Guzi and young Yu farewell. And young Yu worried that they will get lost. Spend Guzi said she was waiting for him on the road. And young Yu went horseback riding at dusk chapter house, waiting for him to Spend Guzi. Sure enough, they came to the former residence together. Old man, old lady happily go out to meet the young Yu. July AO not expensive things, jumbled put on are some of the Shanshu wild. After dinner, guests went to bed. Spend Guzi not even look at a map. Young and young Yu skeptical, puzzled, until the middle of the night, only to come to Spend Guzi, said parents ramble, just do not sleep, you have workers waiting friends, they lingering night. Spend Guzi said, and young Yu meet tonight, it is lifelong absence. And young Yu Jing 1 year. Spend Guzi said, my father thought to live in this small village lonely, so take the family move far away to go with your loving, on the night. And young Yu do not want to let her go, tossing and turning, sad. while attachment regret on the occasion, the sky gradually revealing dawn. Old man suddenly broke into the room, then shouted, "Girl, innocence defiled my family tradition," as people ashamed dead. Flower Guzi, shocked, hurriedly ran out. The old man also out of the room, while cursing. And Young Yu, panicked, distress, fear, anxiety, shame, secretly fled home. And Young Day lost for several days. The mood is simply unbearable. Zhuang wanted to go home at night, skip to the wall, find the opportunity to meet. He thought old man who used to grace his own home, even if they are found, they should not condemn big plus. So he ran to the chapter house by night, to slog up the mountain. The thing that strikes 4 weeks confused the enemy. Very fearful, he was about to return to find it vaguely see some houses in the valley, toward where he pleased, surprised to find the door to residential tall and majestic, like a generation of others dignitaries. The courtyard of a road door is not yet closed. He asked the doorman to the chapter house residence. There is a maid came out and asked the knight to inquire about the chapter house, and Young Yu said, "The chapter house is my relative's. I lost the chance to go to his house. The direction." The maid said, "You do not ask the chapter house where it is to spend Guzi and home. Spend Guzi here now." And so I went to tell her maid go in soon. She asked the baby carriage out the door. Just boarded gallery homes. Spend Guzi walked out to meet, for the maid said, "An Lang run around the middle of the night and wanted to have tired. You quickly pick up the bed and let him rest a little while." And Spend Guzi and Young Yu hand in hand into the drapery. And Young Yu asked, "And home how?" "No one else," Flower Guzi said, "and out, leaving me housekeeping." Fortunately for her to meet with you, not that past life of marriage dictates, but when snuggle. And Young Yu Xingshen feel very strong smell, heart suspect something abnormal. Flower Guzi hugged An Young Yu's neck, suddenly licking his nose. He suffered and felt like acupuncture, pain straight through the brain. He is extremely shocked and want to quickly escape. The body is like a rope tied, not long muddle, lost consciousness. An Young Yu did not go home. The family can find places that are searched. Some say dusk met An Young Yu on the mountain. Family came to the mountains, was surprised to find the young and Yu naked and in cliff below. We surprised endless, I do not know why, had to carry him home. While everyone around, public opinion around crying child safety when a girl came to condole, howl from the outside as he entered the room. She stroked the body, holding down the nose of the bed. Tears started to flow into the nostrils. She shouted, said, my God, how can you be so stupid?" Cried. The voice was hoarse, and after a long time to stop crying, she told the family, said, "Parked 7 days, do not in confining. We do not know who she was, just to open his mouth to ask. She did not proudly Jiangli with you." Tears went ahead and went out. "We retain, in spite of her turn." The crowd followed him, but blink of an eye disappeared. "We doubt that she was immortal," they say, and follow her. To the night, she came to again, the same cry like last time. On the 7th day of the night, the young Yu suddenly resurrected, turned a bit body, issued a groan. Family are all horrified. Then Spend Guzi came into the room, the two relatively crying. An Young Yu raised his hand waving a wave, "Let us go away." Flower Guzi pulled a bunch of grass, boil about a liter of soup in bed to make safe drinking. Young Yu, an instant baby will be able to speak. An Young Yu says with a sigh, "Kill me as you also save me." He told his own situation encountered. Flower Guzi said, "This is a snake spirit pretending when I saw the lights before you get lost, that this snake." An Young Yu asked, "How can you revive it? Is it immortal?" Flower Guzi said, "I wanted to tell you, fear you fuss 5 years ago, you are not ever by the hunting of Ro Mountain Trail in the release." And Young Yu said, "Yes, there is this thing." Flower Guzi said, "This is my father, Zhongzi. Last time say you have great kindness. That's it for my family. The day before you have incarnated into the West Village Wang's hut, hang home my father and complain to the king of hell for you. Hades do not think we are justified. Father expressed its willingness to destroy Deoxing, for you to die, begging for 7 days, before they get the decision we meet today. Straight is lucky, but while you live, the body will atrophy, paralysis, loss of sensation, have to snake blood and wine to drink, the disease can be good, and young you hated, fear of being unable to catch the snake. Flower Guzi said, "It is not difficult but will hurt many lives, cannot hurt me within 100 years of soaring immortality. Yin in the old cliff, can be burned during the drafting of the heap 3 in the afternoon to 5 points, with outside the cave bow and arrow to be alert, which can be captured by goblins then, farewell," said, "Not with your life, I'm really sorry for your sake, I have dioxing damage to Chichen. Please have mercy, forgive the past month since I think belly fretting, probably already pregnant, whether male or female, will give you a year later, I would leave in tears." Spent the night, the young and you felt no feeling below the waist, scratching up the feel itching, they had to spend Guzi, then he told his family, and family went to do so, Yuden lit the fire, there are huge white snakes strip out from the flame, while several crossbow arrows, the white snake shot, people look after the fire put out a hole, the size of hundreds of snakes have been burned, giving off a bad smell, after the family back to send the snake blood, and young Yu Fu took 3 days, gradually able to move his legs, after 6 months in order to walk. Later, and Yu child walking alone in the valley, and found the old lady was wrapped with a small baby to him, said, "I pay tribute to your daughter." He was about to ask the message spent Guzi, the old lady suddenly disappear. He opened the infant and saw a boy, he carried the baby to go home, get married and no longer always. Different, she said, difference between man and beast rarely, it is not conclusive. Others will suffer the grace of grass title ring to repay, so that life, compared to animals, the people in this area is really very ashamed. As for Flower Guzi, resides in intelligent, start simple and honest, affectionate resides ultimately indifferent, visible honest vertex is intelligent, affectionate indifference is extreme, this is it immortal, this is it immortal.